What's good, Freedom Marchers?
11 miles ahead on
What's
the
good,
road.
what's good? You guys a couple minutes to get up in here before I start. Before I start talking about the bullshit, the attack against our children. Give y'all a minute. It is Wednesday, October 27th, 2021, and the FDA has announced that in a 17-0 vote, they have approved the Modelo virus snap for kids aged 5 to 11. All right. Who's surprised? Put a 1 in the chat if you're surprised. Put a 2 in the chat. You knew this shit was going to happen. I tell you, I knew it was going to happen. I knew that when they approved it for adults, that they were going to approve it for children. As if they give a fuck about your children. They don't give a fuck about your children. They don't care. Like it took any long deliberation. No, it did not take long deliberation. They just made it seem like it was going to take a while. And get this. They don't, of course, they don't know how it's going to affect the children until they put it into the children. And they have studies that now make it make sense. There are studies that the approval is contingent upon that won't be ready, that won't be complete for a few years from now. But they've given it emergency use authorization. Emergency use authorization. Why? Like, how many children aged 5 to 11 have died from Modelo virus since this shit started? Can anybody tell me? Give it a good guess if you don't know. I'll tell you how many children under age 17 have died, supposedly, from the Modelo virus. Well, 700. Roughly 700 children have died from Modelo virus, from Modelo 19, since it was introduced into the public. 700 children under age 17. Out of how many million people in America have been infected with the Modelo virus, so they say? The so-called Modelo 19. How many people, millions of people, out of millions of people, 700 children under the age of 17 and under, have died from Modelo 19. 700 children. Why do we need emergency use authorization for children if only 700 of them? Listen, one child dying is horrible, right? No one wants one child to die. But the reality is, children die every day. Children die stillborn. How many children are aborted? You know what I'm saying? Late term, early term. How many children die from pneumonia not related to Modelo 19 each year? Millions. Millions. But they need, now think about the word emergency. When you think of emergency, let's say, I'll give you a definition of emergency on a job site. There's imminent and current danger, right? Like where there's just something bad, so bad has happened that you basically have to shut the job down, or you got to call the ambulance out. That's emergency. But I'm sorry, 700 children dying from Modelo 19 and only 700 have been hospitalized. Only 700 have been hospitalized since, I believe, January in the country. 700 have been hospitalized since January or something like that. At least from January to August. You know, when they were trying to spew that bullshit about 700 children being hospitalized in 1 month in Texas, when it really turned out to be 700 in the whole country in months. But that's children ages 17 and younger. How many children ages 11 and younger have died from the Modelo 19? Can anybody tell me? 100. 100 children have died from Modelo 19 since the pandemic began. 100 children under age 11, roughly 100. Does that constitute an emergency? Can anybody tell me? Does that constitute an emergency that would bring about emergency use authorization? No. So why is it that 17 clown-ass doctors approved the Modelo 19 hokey pokey for children ages 5 to 11 for emergency use, when there is no emergency for children? More children have died from suicide. More children have died from cancer. More children. Where is the emergency for teenage? Where is the emergency for child suicide? More children have been murdered by people. More children have died from child molesters. Right? Where is the emergency? There is no emergency in regards to Modelo 19 in children, because children might not even be symptomatic if they get this Modelo 19, let alone die from it. They're not likely to die at all. That's what I would constitute as an emergency, right? I would constitute an emergency as being somebody, this emergency that you're calling for this group. They're dropping like flies. And I'll go as far as to say, it's not even an emergency, period. The Modelo 19
in 2 miles,
is not an emergency, period.
Is on the right.
For adults, it might be close to an emergency for people over the age of 60 or something like that, or the immunocompromised, right? Yeah, maybe the immunocompromised, maybe older people, maybe there's a level of emergency there. Yeah, some younger people died from it, but not enough to call it a fucking emergency. Medical malpractice kills more people than Modelo 19. Where is the emergency programs for that? When are we going to go to our to Big Pharma and Big Health and say, yo, we have an emergency. You guys are killing people left and right, 250,000 people a year through medical malpractice. There's no emergency for that. They're not calling that an emergency. They're not calling the 500,000 people who die from heart attacks. They're not calling all the people that have died from ailments linked to cigarettes. They're not calling that an emergency. No, they'll just raise the tax on the cigarettes because they know you're addicted and you'll still pay for the shit. But they don't really care that people are dying from smoking cigarettes. No, they don't care about that. They don't care about secondhand smoke. Well, in some places they do, because they banned it banned indoor smoking in some places. Okay. But where's the emergency for those things? You won't see them call for it
onto I-110
because
and then
they have already hitched their wagon to the Modelo 19 crisis. And they're going to ride that sucker till the wheels fall off.
110 north.
They're going to ride it, and they have to keep the continuity going. Never mind all the plot holes they have. Never mind all the plot holes. No, forget all that. Never mind the inconsistencies. Never mind the back and forth bullshit. Never mind the, the flipping of positions of people like Anthony Frosty and people like that. Never mind all that. They're going to ride this Modelo 19 shit until the wheels fall off. Everything that you do in the future will be tied to Modelo 19. But make no mistake, they don't care about your children. Because if they did, they would look at it like this. If the FDA cared about your children, they'll look at it like this. They'll say, well, Pfizer and them are asking for emergency use authorization for the Modelo 19 for children 5 to 11. Right? Oh, okay, well, I don't know. Because this is what I'm thinking as someone in the FDA. Because people, children, young boys, between 17 and 11, have been experiencing pericarditis and myocarditis after getting the shot. And we don't know how that's going to affect children under 11. So, given that only 100 children aged 5 to 11 have died from Modelo 19, I don't think I'm going to vote for this to be authorized. I don't think there's an urgent enough matter for the children to justify putting this experimental shit into the children. So now, your children can go ahead and be the guinea pigs for the Modelo 19, because that's what they're going to be. You get your you get your child this shot, they're going to be a test subject. They're going to be a lab rat. Understand that. Your children are not now lab rats for Big Pharma. Yep. They're going to let the children of today. You know, I don't know how many children that they used in the trials to try to get this authorization, but they damn sure didn't have long enough trials, right? How long were the trials? How long have they been I know a few months ago, I believe it was March. I think it was March they started doing trials on children ages 5 to 11. Correct me if I'm wrong. How many months is that? It's October. March is, the third month. 7 months. So 7 months of trials on children. Children, mind you.
Continue on I-110.
So after 7 months, you had enough data to determine that, hey, yeah, we're going to allow this to be put into children 5 to 11. See, this is what your government is doing. Your government is saying that your children can go ahead and be unofficial lab rats for Big Pharma. Because why? Children aren't dying from Modelo 19 like that. And the children that are dying have had issues already. They're obese, they got diabetes, cancer, things like that, right? And not only that, we know that the SNAP does not stop the transmission, right? It may, so they say, reduce your chance for hospitalization and reduce your risk for death. But that's just what they say. That's just what they say. Can these people be trusted? Do you trust these people with your children? Well, it doesn't matter. Because now the controllers have the ammunition they think they need to place more controls over your children and to take your parental rights ever more away from you. That's all that's happened. Now they're going to, guess what Governor Newsom's going to do? Well, it's already in place, actually, because it's already something. It's already by decree. It's already, you know what I'm saying? It's already an edict by Governor Newsom that in California, once there is approval, children ages 5 to 11 are going to have to get jabbed to go to school. That's all they needed, right? That's all they needed for emergency use. So now your children are going to have to go get jabbed if you want them to go to school in California. No exemptions. And this is for an experimental product that has only been approved for emergency use. Think about what these controllers are doing. They are allowing your children to be injected with a thing that's experimental, that they don't know what it's going to do, right? I believe one of these idiots said, yeah, we're not going to know what it's going to do to the children until we put it into the children. This is their mentality. This is their mentality. So now what do we got? Governor Newsom don't give a damn about your parental rights. They don't care about your children's bodily autonomy. They're going to have to get injected to go to school. This is going to be the true test. Well, I ain't got to worry about it with my children. My children are homeschooled. But what are the rest of us going to do? Those of us who rely on the school system to educate our children. We have to go to work, right? So we got to drop our kids off at school. We can't afford to have one parent stay at home, can we? No, they saw to that. They wanted to make sure that we had to send our children to school. Well, people are going to have to get together and figure that shit out, man. People are going to have to get together and figure this shit out. They're going to have to say,
2 miles, the exit
all right,
on the right.
They painted us. Well, no, we painted ourselves into a corner by voting for these clowns to rule over us. No, we did this to ourselves. At some point, we got to face facts. We brought this on ourselves. We brought this on our children by not being able to give birth to our children in an environment free of government rule. We didn't ensure that we were self-sufficient and separate and sovereign from government before bringing children into the world. So we did this to our children. Not only that, we got them birth certificates. We got them social security cards. We signed a contract with the state and the government saying, yo, we share our children with you. We got 50-50 custody. And at any point, hey, they can take your children. But what are you going to do? If you still live and operate within this system, you don't get a birth certificate, you don't get a social security card, there's no record of your child having ever been born. It's easier for them to take them away from you and do what they want with them. So, they've created quite a conundrum for us, didn't they? They ensured that we were between a rock and a sharp place. Not even a hard place, right? No, a rock in a sharp place. They have us bound to a table with bamboo shoots growing underneath us. That's what they've done. Well, guess what? It's time, because see, those bindings, those bindings that they have us tied to, we're stronger than those bindings, right? We just got to pull real hard and at the right angle and break those bindings, break those, you know what I'm saying, whether it be chains, whatever you want to call it, whatever metaphor you want to use, we are strong enough to break that shit. We just have to do it the right way. We have to go about it the right way. We have to be smart. We have to be somewhat sneaky. We can't give away the goods. We can't tell all our plans. We have to be able to move like ninjas throughout this world, throughout this country, and get things set up for ourselves. I know I always talk about land ownership, becoming self-sufficient, more and more learning how to live on your own, live without the system,
The second exit on the right, and then.
And for some people, it's harder to get that going than others. But as long as you have that in the forefront of your mind, you can make that shit happen. Because you have to think about what education is now. What's true education? Is education, what level of education from, the public school system is needed? We know college is a joke. We know college is a financial trap for many of us. We know it's a financial trap. What type of education is going to be crucial in the future? Because what I do for a living, I didn't go to college for that. I went through an apprenticeship program, meaning I worked while I learned. So I was able to earn a living while learning to be a master electrician, right? So I'm a master electrician. I didn't go to college for that, but I did go to school. But I learned most of what I know on the job. You see, that's what it is. What else do I need to know? I don't need to know computer engineering unless I want to do shit with the computers. If I want to be I'm efficient enough with computers, and I'm smart enough to learn things that I need to know as I go. But if I want to code and all of the shit, I got to go to that type of schooling for that. So at the end of the day, how much education is needed? Well, as much education is needed as what you want to do with your life. You want to be a car mechanic? Do you need to go to school for 12 years to learn to be a mechanic? No. Guess what you can do? You can learn to be a mechanic. You can start at age 10, 11, 12, whenever you can get your hands dirty.
Left turn.
You know what I'm saying? My son at age 5 was learning how to screw shit in. With learning how to, use drills and shit like that. If he wanted to be a mechanic, whether it be a car mechanic, an electrical mechanic, a carpentry mechanic, because all that is essentially mechanics. You want to be a mechanic? Hell, why not learn early? Why have to go to school? And if as you get older, you might change your mind. You might want to be a doctor. Right? Okay, well, how can I learn to be a doctor? Do I need to go to their schools and learn to be a doctor? Or how to heal people? How to treat people's illnesses? Or can I learn under a practicing doctor from a young age that has the knowledge to teach me? But that's taboo, right? That's taboo, according to the United States government, because they want you to go through 12 years of school. Then they want you to go through another 8 years of school. After that, postgraduate, to become a doctor. Well, what if you wanted to learn how to be a nurse at age 12? You love it. You have a compassion for it. Boom. Why not hang out with a nurse? Not necessarily, go to the hospital with her. Learn from her. Do what you can. Maybe work in the clinic. Whatever you got to do. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to see people bleeding and all. But so what if you did? How traumatizing does it have to be if you're learning how to heal someone that's bleeding severely? Because some kids some kids are cold-blooded. Some kids have the capacity to see something like that and not be all freaked out.
2 miles to South
Listen, you can learn these things from an early age. You can just start learning. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you live in a town where there's a surgeon and a doctor. You have all kinds of doctors. You know, a small town. Not a lot of shit happens. Like he's not giving surgeries every day because shit don't happen like that every day in those little towns or those little communities. But, you know, you can learn from him. You know, you can step by step. And he'll teach you according to how much you're able to absorb and reiterate and to put back out there. You know what I'm saying? Or hell, he might have a friend that's a veterinarian, and then you can learn. You can also learn how to be a vet, how to work with animals. You might live in a small community where animals get more hurt more often than humans, and animals need to be treated more than humans. Boom, you learn to be a vet. You learn to be a doctor just by being an apprentice, being attached or at the hip to someone who knows and has that knowledge and knows how to practice it. Who says you have to go through 12 years of institutionalization to become a doctor? Just to have the honor of going to medical school. And once you get to medical school, you go through rote memorization, rote repetition. And then you're learning how to, come on, man. Like, who says that? Who says we got to do all that? To learn a trade, to learn what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that can be for any profession that you're interested in.
Next right.
That can be for any profession that you're interested in. But no,
of a mile, right turn
they want your kids to have to go to school
4th Street.
So that they can implement shit like motherfucking SNAP mandates. And best believe these politicians, these evil bastards that want your children to be injected with this stuff, have been chomping at the bit to this very day.
Right turn.
Where the FDA can say, oh yeah, we authorize emergency use of the Model 19 SNAP for children. And now they're busting nuts in their pants because they can't wait. They can't wait.
Proceed about 2 miles
to get at your children. They can't wait to do whatever they want with the children. Why can't they leave the goddamn kids alone? Why can't they leave the kids alone, man? Why do they have to just, what is this need for them to have control over your children? Control over you. Why can't they just leave people alone? Why can't they leave people alone? Why? What is this incessant need for them to control people and control children? Like, I don't understand that. I don't even want to control my goddamn children. It's a pain in the ass trying to get them to do what I want them to do. Let alone other adults. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to be trying to dictate what grown ass people can do with their lives. I ain't got time to try to dictate what people do with their children. If you're not harming your children, if you're not beating your children half to death and molesting them and all that other shit, do what you want with your children. As long as you're not raising them to be murderers and killers and rapists themselves. Like, as long as you're treating your children right and you're not harming them in any way, like, I don't care what you do with your children. I don't have to agree with how you raise your children or what you teach your children. As long as, like I said, as long as it doesn't cause harm to the children. But outside of that, I don't have time. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the mental capacity and the mental I don't have that type of desire to control people. I don't understand what this is. What is this with this desire to control people? People can barely control their own actions. How to control my actions? I'll repeat that. These people can barely control their own actions. And I'm talking about these politicians from every branch. The executives, the judiciary, the legislation, the legislative branch, all these motherfuckers. They can barely control their own actions. They can barely control their own children. Like Hunter Biden, the crack addict. But they have the nerve to try to tell us what we can and can't do. What we can and can't have put into our children's bodies. You got the nerve to tell me I can't send my kid to school unless I inject them with the shit that you want me to inject them with. Think about how retarded and insane that is. I really want people to think about it. When you put it straightforward, see, you got to get rid of these euphemisms and these colloquialisms and all this, putting the dress on the pig and trying to act like it's a motherfucking swan. Listen. You got to put it straight. They want to tell you what you can and can't do with your body. They're trying to tell you that you have to have some shit put into your body that you don't want in order to go to work. And then for your children to go to school, they want you to put some shit in your children's body that you don't know what the fuck is going to do. They want you to deliberately, on purpose, put a substance in your body that you have no idea what it's going to do. And they got the nerve to tell you that if you don't do it, then you're killing your grandmother, you're killing this person, you're killing that person. Even though
proceed about 7/10
these people have that stuff in them that's supposed to protect them from the shit that I don't have yet. Are you guys wrapping your mind around that? It's hard to describe it because it's so stupid. They want us to protect people who already have a substance in them that's supposed to protect them from shit that we don't have. I'm going to say it a third time just so y'all get, and I'm going to try to rephrase it to try to make it make sense. They want me to put
a mile, left turn
a medication in my body that's supposed to protect me. And that is supposed to protect you who already has said substance in their body that's supposed to protect them from something that I don't have yet. So it's not that I have Modelo 19 and I'm running around coughing and sneezing in people's faces, and breathing down their throats and spitting on their sandwiches. No, I'm not doing that. I don't have it. I'm not coughing. I'm not sneezing. I'm not in your face. Never wanted to be anybody's face. I've always been about social distancing, even before the pandemic started. I was always about social distancing, unless I'm in the ring sparring or something like that. Then of course, or in the bed with my wife. I don't have it. And if I get it and I get sick,
proceed about 9
I'm not going around people.
To your destination.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't. Now they want your children to get some shit to protect other children from shit that they have. Protect the children, protect other children who have something that's supposed to protect them from the thing that your child doesn't have yet. It doesn't make fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? But that's how they try to paint it. Snaps have always been about protecting you and only you from something that is supposed to immunize you against, like the flu. It's supposed to protect you. And a byproduct of that might be that somebody else. But that's not why you take it, right? That's not why you take it unless you're like in a hospital or something like that where they want you to have those things, right? Depends on what profession you're in. But and that's to be determined by that hospital, by that private hospital that has the right to make those types of decisions based on, you know, the environment that you're working in. But I was never told get this flu shot so that you could protect other people from the flu. No, that's not how it works.
Your destination is ahead.
In order to get people, in order to have the sheep look down on you like you're an attempted murderer for not getting the jab, that's what they tell people. That's what they put out there. So it's like, okay, well, now these people feel like they have the right to attack me for not getting the jab because they think that I'm refusing to do my duty and protect them. Well, guess what? It's not my duty to protect you. It's not my duty to get a substance. It's not my duty to keep you from getting sick. It's not my responsibility. Let me see, Marcy T in the building. AZ Rudd, what's up, man? Oh, that's what's up. Tapping in while you're at work. Yeah, Jimmy Nguyen. Logic means nothing. Hold on. Hey, man. All right. Let me finish. Logic will never mean anything to these people. It's all about control at the end of the day. Xander was good. Workless Podcast was good, man. Mac Jasavi 18 says, because those who can't succeed by they teach. So those who fail in life try to control others' lives. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. AZ Work says, wiring the security system at the guys who created South Park's house right now. Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's why I'm saying away from the Asian generation BS. I heard that, man. All right, man. I'm gonna get out of here. Probably hit you guys with another live tomorrow morning. So look out for that. Yeah. So just so y'all know, they authorized emergency use of the Modelo 19 snap for children ages 5 to 11. So they are officially coming at your children ages 5 to 11. Don't be surprised when they start trying to get emergency use authorization for children age, haven't been born yet to 5. The younger the better. Contextual MD says, good day to you, sir. You have the only credit You're the only credit to the black race, if I'm being honest. I doubt that, man. There's a lot of great black people out there, man. A lot of beautiful black people out there in the world doing beautiful black things. But anyway, protect the babies. Protect the babies. Black, white, they don't care what color your children are. And that's the thing we have to understand. At the end of the day, yeah, lots of welfare, lots of white folks on welfare too, my friend. Lots of whites on welfare. We ain't gonna get into all that. A lot of white people, a lot of Jews on welfare. Let's not get it twisted. The mandates to going to work, but that are raising their children. Schools that they force out of our paycheck every paycheck. You know, that's a big problem because we're funding these schools that are pieces of shit. So we need to figure out how we can withdraw our funds from that since we're homeschooling. We're not using the school system, so we need to get our money out of there. Anyway, peace out, much love, and I'll holler at y'all later. Like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.